Hi everybody, and welcome back to the Wellness Lounge. My name is Gillian O'Gorman. I am the founder of the Wellness Lounge, and today I am joined by not only a really good friend, a really good coach, and somebody who has been part of this journey since the beginning, and my confidant and my support in the background, putting this idea together. It's Denise O'Brien of O'Brien Learning Solutions. Denise, if I was to list out all your different qualifications, I'd be afraid that I'd leave something out. So I know in the Wellness Lounge, you really brought in your coaching area, but obviously you do a lot more, and O'Brien Learning Solutions does a lot more. So why don't you explain a little bit about what you do and how you support people?
Okay, thanks Gillian, and thanks for having me here. So yeah, my business is O'Brien Learning Solutions, and what I do is I support organizations that are going through any kind of change. And that does sound broad, but you know, that can be anything from, you know, they want to bring in a new manager over a certain area, or they want to hire more staff, or they want to train people on a new process, or you know, anything like that, and I help them to understand how to make the change last and how to make it successful. So that's predominantly what O'Brien Learning Solutions is about, but I also have a private coaching practice where I help individuals to successfully navigate through periods of change in their life, or make a change that they've maybe been putting off for a while. So does that sum it up?
It's all about,
really?
yeah. It's all about change. And, you know, one thing that would be surprising to people is the different types of coaching that's out there. So, and just with you alone, NLP coaching, MBIT coaching, the life and executive coaching as well. So, you know, obviously we know that coaches work with supporting people through change. But each of those different types of coaching really approach it from a different area. Would you agree?
I do, yeah. I think most coaches I know, just taking a step back, I think most coaches I know are passionate about helping people to become like the best version of themselves. And helping, you know, one of the things I remember learning really clearly when I was studying executive coaching was to act as if you are the coachee's potential. So I sometimes say that to people, you know, I'm your potential personified. So if I kind of, if I seem like I'm objecting or challenging, it's because I don't feel that you're fulfilling or being true to yourself and your potential. So, and then all the different modalities. So NLP, you mentioned, MBIT, like the multiple brain integration techniques, and coactive coaching. So kind of regular coaching. Yeah, they are different, but they merge together to form a really nice blend when I'm working with clients. So I have a lot of tools in the toolkit, I suppose, and it allows me to kind of pick and choose as I feel is appropriate in the moment, which is what coaching is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And as you said, it's about getting people to realize their own potential as well. So when I approached you, I mean, when the word change comes into my head, you know, your face comes into my head as well, because you're so open to change, and you embrace change. And that's what you're helping organizations to do. And as you said, your private coaching clients as well. So I remember going back to March and said, Denise, you know, we're all going through change. What can you offer the Wellness Lounge? And interestingly enough, you very much veered towards the teachings of Louise Hay, which you're also qualified in. You are a Louise Hay workshop facilitator, or Heal Your Life workshop facilitator, like myself. So what was it that really, you didn't do the stereotypical work that you were doing in organizations or coaching, but you very much brought elements of that in, but it was really around the work of Louise Hay. Why was that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I suppose for me, I was introduced to the work of Louise Hay a number of years ago, and it was something that I found really transformative on a personal level, on a very personal basis. And I feel that when people are going through change, the first thing that they need to understand is that it needs to be done gently, easily, and firmly. You know, this is why we engage with the supportive coaches. And I feel Louise, of the work I've come across, she's one of the best people for getting that point across about self-love. And I know that's like an overused phrase in the wellness world, but she talks about it on a metaphysical level, and how our thoughts impact our bodies, and which impacts, you know, our behavior, our beliefs, our world, every way. You know, so I felt that that would be really helpful for people that were going through change in COVID to begin to apply the principles of her teachings. So I got so much out of it that I thought it would be something I could share with people. It was the first thing that came to mind, actually. Yeah.
And, you know, I watched you every second week on the Saturday evenings when you did your lives, and you really built a community around you. And I think, you know, from conversations that we had behind the scenes, you know, it surprised you how much interaction there was Saturday evening, but then that really was a sign of the times. But also, you know, Louise Hay's work really does build communities, and it does actually start conversations. You know, it's something that we talk about ourselves, and I think something that we've kind of got value, you know, from, but it's something that really resonates, you know, with people, because it's spoken in a language that people understand, you know. And I think how you delivered it, well, I guess because you are a trained trainer as well, people were really lucky to get your level of expertise and how you engage people from your office at home and right across the Midwest. It was actually a pleasure to watch the amount of views, and even, you know, a week or two later, people were still commenting on your content. Now, you and I both know that's a shift from the work that you usually deliver. So even doing this type of work was change for, you know, for you. And I hope you don't mind me sharing, but there was a little bit of not so much resistance. You knew you wanted to do something, but you didn't know what you wanted to do. So how did you manage actually delivering in this format to an audience that you didn't know? You didn't know where they were. You didn't know what their needs were. There was no kind of spec as to this is what we need you to do. It was so open. How did you manage that change yourself?
Yeah, that's a good question. And you're right. You know, when you approached me, I didn't realize you were going to ask me to contribute, because I suppose my brain was so focused on corporate world. And that is, as you've said, is fairly structured and, you know, planned out and thought out and all that. And I wasn't sure if I resonate with the audience of the Wellness Lounge. So after you gently encouraged me to partake, I suppose first thing for me is my personality. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, unless something like an emergency arises or anything like that. Once I'm in, I'm in. And then for me, you see, the kind of Louise Hay principles and other principles I picked up along the way start to work with me immediately. So I immediately began to affirm, to know that I will produce something, I can produce something, I have loads of content, I will find something perfectly suitable at the right time. And I'm a great believer in, you know, our thoughts become things, you know, so how I talk to myself is really important. And, you know, the purpose is really important to me. So the purpose behind the whole thing was to help people and to share knowledge and information that might help others. And that purpose drove me and just kept me focused and, you know, led me back to Louise Hay. And so it's like a little mini change process myself. So it's like, okay, what's the end result? What's the overall purpose? Is it in line with my values? Yes. What's the story I'm telling myself around this? And okay, where do I start? And I have a little thing in here in my office that I use a lot, and it just says, like, start where you are, use what you have, do what you can, and it's attributed to unknown. Okay. So I have that here where I can see it all the time. Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. because I would have shared, I like perfectionism would be a big thing for me.
Yeah.
Or has been over the years, you know, so it was nice to just do exactly that and see, and it was nice, it was exciting, it was like a little adventure for me. So
yeah. And it sounds like as well, you used the word there, you know, you were focusing on the work of Louise L. Hay, and so therefore it was giving you that point of focus to actually use it in a time. Then listen, we were all going through change, you know, so even looking across the different areas of our life, not commuting to work becoming less, the fear around going out, you know, the fear of the unknown, the fear of how long this is going to actually happen. It was a last for it, it was traumatic for everybody, and it's something that a lot of the different coaches and therapists and contributors to the page have said, that this time and this project, this kind of collaboration gave them a point of focus, which really helped to motivate them as well. So that's why I love talking to you all, because it's just proof that we do practice what we preach, and we still get benefit from things that we learned years ago. And it's like, oh yeah, remember that affirmation? Oh yeah, maybe I should start doing that to myself. Oh yeah, that might actually. We're so focused on supporting, you know, we're so focused looking out, you know, and so what do you think with the Wellness Lounge experience, what surprised you about yourself? Like, what surprised you the most, even, you know, receiving some of the content, not in all the delivery, what surprised you about the whole initiative?
The whole initiative, I suppose it was lovely to see a whole team of practitioners come together under one vision, like, and have a shared vision and be totally on board. So I love that, you know, about the human spirit, and a sense of community kind of emerged very early on, and obviously led by yourself, which was phenomenal. And so that I really enjoyed seeing that in action. Like, and I wouldn't know everyone I don't know all the practitioners. I've met some of the practitioners, but I don't know all of them. So it was lovely just that we all came together with a shared vision, and we're able to work as a team, and, you know, scheduling, all that worked out beautifully. And then, you know, for me personally, it was sharing some of my own personal development stories, and, you know, different sides of myself that you wouldn't necessarily need to be talking about in a corporate setting. So just around spirituality, and different techniques and tools that I've used, like Course in Miracles, which is my big one lately. So being able to share and talk about that, you know, the Wellness Lounge felt like the appropriate place to be able to do that, and that was lovely for me, you know. And I think people connected with that, and that was lovely.
Yeah, I think I love your authenticity, and you know that we've had this discussion many times ourselves. I love when you share that side of yourself, because I think you have a powerful story, and you're somebody who has been actively working on yourself for many, many years, and you have such a wealth of knowledge. Sometimes you forget, because you know, we don't really kind of observe ourselves as such. So watching you talk, you know, and share your posts, and just, you know, again, you know, reminding people that, you know, you studied NLP, but also, you know, the training that you do in the corporate sector, the passion you have for personal development, bringing in A Course in Miracles, that you're really passionate, but, you know, you're passionate about people, and you're passionate about improvement. And as you said there a while ago, for people to be, you know, their best selves, which is something that we all are striving, you know, to be. So I was so excited when I saw you, you know, share that part of your journey. And I think that's kind of why the screen kind of went ding, 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 because people love to hear, you know, that, listen, we've gone through it, we're going through it, we've overcome it, we've learned this, or, you know, it's something that, you know, really challenges me, or, and I think it's in that authenticity that we really connect, and that's something that I think we all kind of achieved by sharing our story. But you know, when you kind of put the laptop away and you were living your life, how has been the whole lockdown period for you overall? You know, how have you found that?
Overall it's nice to be able to look back on it now, you know, touch wood. Hopefully we're coming out of it safely, and this reopening will be successful for the country. But yeah, for me, it was a whole process of change. Like when I look back on it now, and I'm proud of how I handled myself through the change. Like I have supports in place, you know, I have great friends like yourself. But I do, like I've went through some coaching for fitness, weight loss, other personal development as well. I did some other kind of work around, you know, just my own personal self. I used lockdown to develop myself further, as it turns out, and like some of the coaching certifications that you mentioned earlier, you know, a lot of the experts in the field started free learning groups, book clubs. You know, I have been like on another learning curve myself, which is it's why I'm so passionate about change. Like my business tagline is because change matters, and like change matters to me because how a person approaches change is actually how they approach everything. And it's the same can be said about an organization. How they do change impacts how they do everything, and that's very, very a simple way of looking at it, and that's what I work with people on. But and myself, you know, how do I advocate for my own personal change, and what do I do? And like you and I had like a template at one stage for you shared it with me that you were using, you know, like this is what I want to do every day. And you know, now I was laughing the other day, smiling to myself. I don't need the template anymore because a lot of it is just habit now, you know. Because I persisted, and this is what I try and help people with is don't, and this is what one of my consistent messages was throughout all my sessions on the Wellness Lounge is, and it's not like you're worth it in a L'Oreal way, but you are worth the development, you are worth the investment of time. You know, don't let some little thought or niggle put you off doing the coaching or investing in yourself or taking a half an hour in the morning or whatever it is, you know, because I've come from a place over the years I've been very hard on myself and actually not really giving myself what I really needed and what I really wanted, and that manifested in a lot of areas of my life. And I've had to really unpack that and look at that and look at the deep core beliefs I had around that, you know, and where were they leading me. So I would say I found the process of change a bit of a struggle at the start, which is normal. Like when you're changing, you're coming out of your comfort zone, and we all were hurled out of our comfort zones at the start of this. And just through a lot of my own knowledge, wisdom, sheer perseverance, and friends, and you know, support, like I've come out of it, I feel personally, you know, 100 times better than I was at the start of it.
Oh, that's fantastic. And actually, I can actually back that up because, again, having the friendship with you, I think that, you know, you sound different. You sound easier on yourself. Not that you were like hard on yourself, but I think you've achieved a lot in a short period of time. And it's been, you know, a massive kind of accomplishment or achievement, you know, for you. I kind of I overwhelmed myself with the list, which is part of my stuff. But that's a learning in itself. I was like, go, 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 go. And then because I was kind of overcommitting in many areas, I got very tired. So the list was kind of put to one side, but I'm not giving myself a hard time. What I started to do was examine, why am I so tired? Why am I overcommitting myself? What am I trying to do here? You know, if it's learning that and kind of saying it's actually okay to park the list for me right now, and I have time. And I think that's kind of one thing is I realized I keep trying to do things in a very short period of time. When their lifestyle changes, it's kind of like a consistent change. It doesn't need to be done any finite time. So I think there's lots of learnings that you know, I hope other people have got as well. So you know, Yeah, go on, sorry.
I think from what I've heard from people, you know, that, and people I've worked with, you know, I actually reignited my enthusiasm, I suppose, for my coaching practice, because you know, when you're a sole trader and you're working in corporate world and you have a couple of big clients, then that can take up all of your time, you know. So my private coaching practice would have been the smaller side of the business, if you want to say, you know. So over COVID, I had more time to focus on that, and I've coached some amazing people and business owners, and you know, I've just so enjoyed helping them to, like you just said there, you know, just to stick with themselves and stick with the process and realize some of this stuff is a lifelong journey. You know, it sounds corny, but you're kind of choosing a pathway of living, and we need to kind of celebrate the little successes and be realistic about the timescales for change as well, you know. So that was a good point.
No, definitely something that even this morning when I was writing out a goal, I was like, why does it have to be done by the end of August? Like, why am I immediately, you know, and I'm like, oh, I'm doing it again, you know, like let it go to the end of the year, see what happens. And I find sometimes when we take pressure off ourselves, well, this is me. When I take, so some people work very well to pressure, I become overwhelmed in pressure. So then I start to kind of want that perfection. And then I'm like, ooh, and I walk away from things. So it's really interesting. And again, I would have discovered that through conversations with you at times, through coaching with other people. So I'm saying to people over and over, like, coaching is a fantastic support for people to invest in if they're looking at feeling a sense of, you know, loss in their life, feeling confused, repeat patterns, or being specific around achieving a goal that they feel that they haven't achieved before. I just think, you know, and there's been so many coaches on the page as well. So it shows that there's not kind of one type of coach. We all bring a different energy to it. And so it's lovely to hear that this time has inspired or given you an opportunity. I won't say inspired, giving you an opportunity to kind of flex that muscle a little bit more. But you also mentioned just before the call there that you've now designed kind of an offer for the Wellness Lounge, an introductory offer into your coaching practice and such. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, there's a few modalities that I would use in coaching. So it's a kind of a unique blend of coaching that I would practice. The embraining piece in particular is quite unique, and you know, that's something I can explain to clients in more detail when I'm working with them. But we're looking at working with, you know, our 3 intelligence centers. So we have the brain in our head, but we also have an intelligence center in our heart and in our gut, which is, you know, scientifically proven. So I love working with clients to bring them to that level. You wouldn't necessarily start on that level. So yeah, I have an offer for anyone that comes through the Wellness Lounge. I do have spaces available where I'll be able to offer a coaching package of 4 sessions, and there'll be a discounted rate on that as well for anyone that comes directly through here.
Yeah, fab. That's fantastic. And definitely, wow, with 4 sessions, that's when, you know, people are really kind of experiencing the change. I know that from my own, you know, practice as well. People, you need a few sessions to really get to understand where you're at, your belief, your resistance as well. So that's fantastic. And you know, on behalf of me, thank you for doing this for the Wellness Ground, the Wellness Lounge subscribers. I think it's an amazing offer. So you're going to be sharing a little bit more about that next week on the page as well. But I guess people can contact you, Denise, O'Brien Learning Solutions. But I'm sure you'll be putting up some information as well, your email address, or maybe I can put it below as well if people want to check in with you. Obviously, Facebook people have been contacting you on that as well.
That's fine.
And
so if anybody feels like they would like to, you know, check in after watching this about coaching, you know, there's a free, like, no obligation, like 15-minute consultation where we can just have a chat and see, are we right for each other? You know, is coaching what I would recommend? So yeah, like, if people have been messaging me directly on Facebook, as part of the Wellness Lounge, so people can continue to do that. But absolutely, my website is there, o'brienlearningsolutions.ie, and my email is denise@o'brienlearningsolutions.ie. But yeah, Facebook is fine too for all the wellness loungers.
Fantastic. So, and for now you are working online, you continue to work online, and I know that you have some exciting plans for your website as well. So, and you're actively delivering a seminar, helping a lot of organizations to manage change, because a lot of organizations are a bit stuck as to how to do things as well. So it sounds like you're getting busy again, which is
yeah. Everybody has opened their doors again now, and they're realizing that, you know, their team members, they need support, their leaders need support, the staff members need support. It was just a case of people had to shut the door on that temporarily, but it's absolutely picking up now again, so it's fantastic.
Fantastic. Well, Denise, thanks a million. Thank you for helping us understand change and embrace change, and I guess really move through the change as well. You brought us through that time, and I'm so happy to have had you a part of the Wellness Lounge, and thank you again for the offer, and we'll be talking again, you and I, anyway. We might be doing some work together in the future, who knows, you know. And so thank you very much, and we will talk to you soon.
Thanks so much for having me. Bye for now.
Bye. Bye-bye.